Good morning or afternoon or whatever time of day it is. And welcome to the Link to the Past Randomizer 2021 tournament. We've got a great match for you today. Rywek and Linlinlin are playing their second match. As you can see on the tracker, Linlinlin won the first one. But this is winner's bracket, so regardless of what happens today, both of them will still be alive in the tournament afterwards. I'm Drosy, and I'm here with Star X. How are you doing?
Hey, good morning. I'm doing fine.
Well, it is a Sunday morning, so definitely going slowly. I don't know how Rywek got himself up for this.
Probably a lot of coffee. That would be my guess.
Linlinlin's, of course, in Europe, so easy for him.
Yeah, he's been up for a couple of hours already, so let's see if that plays. If that plays in the game. I think both players should be going pretty soon. And for those who don't know, this tournament is played in standard mode, which means we'll have to go through the whole escape sequence with Zelda and her cell, go save her, and go out the sanctuary. And it is also played with a hard item pool, meaning we won't have anything else than the green mail. We won't ever find the fourth sword or the mirror shield. And I think our health will be capped at 14 hearts. Also, no silvers, so shouldn't affect those players. Both of them have their silver as Ganon pretty much pat down, but.
And that was a very fast map check. I definitely saw a regular crystal at Tower of Hera. I think
And
that was a
both others,
5/6 Eastern.
and also Desert. So we already have both 5/6 crystal info on Linlinlin's screen right there.
And speaking of Eastern, that bow start effectively gives us the ability to clear Eastern, though logic requires a fire source.
Yep, might even require the lamp if the big key is in its vanilla location. But dark rooms are easy to navigate at that level of play.
So the thing about escape is we get 3 checks in the front, then there's 1 check at Dark Cross, and 3 checks in the back, but to get into the back we need either bombs or boots. And it's incredibly unlikely to get boots in these first few checks, so really the runners are looking for bombs.
Yep, either bombs in the chests or bombs dropped by enemies. But as we've seen already, the guards won't have any because they dropped a 5 arrow pack already. So they're in the arrow pack item pool. And sadly for both runners, there are no bombs in that pool.
At the same time, you kind of need to keep some ammunition until you get another weapon.
Yeah, having the arrow pack, normally we don't really like to see that, but it's always a good thing to have in the bow escape. It just allows them to be a little bit more liberal with their arrow applications.
And so far, apart from the weapon Uncle had to give us, we've seen 2 pieces of heart and a shield. Not really a great start for the runners. I'm sure they're hoping for something better soon.
Yep. And also to note, we were talking about item packs. The guards won't have any bombs, but there are some, so no problems there. But there is also a second item pool available in the escape sequence, and that comes from the rats in the sewers. So both
that's
guards
like
and
that's like the umpteenth scene I've seen where specifically bombs were in Zelda's cell.
yeah. So while we backtrack, we don't. It's gonna take still a couple more seconds before we get going with more checks and more interesting info, as the players are just backtracking through Hyrule Castle.
But we can give you the interesting information that both of these players are fluent French speakers, and the match is also being broadcast on SpeedGaming Français.
Yep. Shout out to the French ALTTPR community right there.
Oh, thank you, T Sigma. It's SpeedGaming Français 2. Because we've had so many foreign language restreams of different games lately. A lot of the second foreign language channels have been used, I've been noticing.
Oh, and with that 10 bomb pack, there is absolutely no issues with the back of escape being open to both players.
Yeah, and I think they'll be heading to Kakariko pretty quickly, not having to worry about whether they can bomb all the walls there.
Yep.
Oh, and there's a bomb on the Rat Pack, too.
Yep. And a heart followed by bombs. So that might be just the kind of the small pack with a single bomb in there.
Well, we got another
Cane of
weapon.
Samaria. Yep, Cane of Samaria and the shovel. That might, having shoveled this early might make both players lengthen their Kakariko loop up to the Sacred Grove. That would be one check that is not in the back of their mind for a while.
Yeah, we'll see if either of them remember it by the time they finish CAC.
And both players do
Linlinlin
know how to
counted
count.
chests.
Yep. And both players do know how to count, and they skipped the only chest possible that could still contain the map.
And both of them are skipping Lumberjack for the time being. That was a vanilla set of bloopies on the tree pole for Tier 2.
And Rywek does go and get the red rupee on the mushroom spot there. That will help him have the money required for the bottle vendor.
Oh, and Lin is doing a save and quit and going south directly. Oh no, going east. I guess he really wants to use that bow for Eastern.
Yep, having Eastern open this early, that's an interesting play. The infamous Kakariko skip. Oh, and nice Ancilla right over there on Linlinlin's screen.
I guess he figures if he's doing it well, might as well check Hobo along the way.
Yep. Normally the splash delete we see is the ones with 3 arrows and 2 bombs, but there are a number of ways to set it up, and bombs and a Samaria block exploding is one of those ways, like Linlinlin showed us.
He also showed us Bombos from the Hobo, which we don't know yet if we'll need or not, but certainly nice to have. Can't use it at the moment without a sword.
Yep, meanwhile, Rywek going through Blind's hideout, not finding too much useful over there, but is up a couple of hearts against Linlinlin, which may or may not come in handy when he dips any dungeons.
Well, there we get another cane. We've actually found 4 of the 7 possible escape items, including that 10 bomb pack.
Yep. The only ones we're still missing are hammer, fire rod, and of course the sword.
And those are kind of the ones we want.
Yes, the combination of pretty much all escape items do give us a lot of possibility in what we can complete.
Speaking of what we can complete, finding a bottle in Sahasrala's closet is kind of nice for Lin, because then he'll be able to do Sick Kid his first time in Kakariko. Finding the Moon Pearl in the tavern is nice for Rywek because it's the Moon Pearl.
Yes. So a good divergence here, having both players do completely different plays and having both of them being good in some way or another. Linlinlin, we will be able to check pretty much all of Lightwall Kakariko on his first go.
Hey!
Meanwhile,
Did you see what's on the race game there?
that's a fire rod, so that
Yes.
might just put Eastern Palace in logic. And
With
as we
where
see on
Lin...
Linlinlin's screen, it does put Eastern in logic because the big key is in the front. It's not hidden behind the lamp-locked rooms.
Yeah, and the room where you have to get the key from the Igor has torches in it, so we'll probably even see Rywek use the fire rod when he gets to that room.
Yep, and Rywek not saving and quitting already, so meaning he's probably going to check the shovel spot. Having a blue guard kind of harassing him on the way there, but not much he can do.
So really not much of interest so far in Eastern. The most interesting thing Lin's come up with has been that bottle.
Yep, Eastern being not being too nice in terms of items. Only the bottle in the bag of Sahasrala. Meanwhile, Rywek does put out does delay Eastern a bit more, going with the classic South Shore right after Kakariko.
Well, I'm thinking with the amount of money he has and with the Moon Pearl, he will probably fake Flipper all the way to Zora area.
Yeah, especially if he can find the couple of rupees he's missing for the Zora check. There are five checks available in the Mini Moldorm Cave, and one in Ice Rod Cave if he fancies going up there.
Yeah, and if a glove shows up in Mini Moldorm Cave, there's a place to farm rupees in front of Ice Rod Cave.
Yeah, the 20 rupee cave, indeed. Nice double kill with the bomb there for Rywek. And
oh, well,
a screen
the
we don't want to see too often on Linlinlin's screen.
I didn't catch, where did he take that death?
I think it was. It was in the bag, but I'm not too sure. It was probably in the dark room.
The Igor Key darkroom, yes?
Yeah. He did manage to get a key though. So
Oh, yes,
maybe
I
the
see it in his inventory.
maybe the second trip will be easier.
Yeah, 3 hearts and no sword really makes these darkrooms tough.
Yeah, you have to find some other ways to orient yourself as to, because those rooms aren't easy. And looks like in Igor or a Popo just wanted to give hugs to Linlinlin, but he's through. Oh
Oh,
no! That sneaky anti-fairy just
speaking
costing some more time.
speaking of enemies that you don't want to get hugs from, Rywek did a little dance around those sand crabs because they take 2 hearts off you, which in Rywek's case would be a KO.
Yeah, those crabs are brutal. They are the only enemies in the light world that do that much damage, which makes them, even though they seem quite docile, it does make them pretty dangerous, especially if they decide to charge you sideways. That would result in a bad time for Rywek.
Of course, Rywek being in fake flipper mode is automatically in one-hit KO mode because in the vanilla game, if you fake flippered and got hit, you'd soft block.
Yep, and looks like Linlinlin is through once again. Hopefully the anti-fairies play nicer this time. There you go. But yeah, 3 hearts, dark rooms without a sword are scary.
Finally fills back up his life there. And Rywek getting a fairy from the fairy. I wonder if she, like, incarnates herself into that bottle.
Shrinks herself down and finds her way there. Meanwhile, we're seeing a pretty clean quick kill on Armos Knights there on the right of your screen. And that's the first crystal for Linlinlin.
And it is a 5/6 crystal, and that's really the only redeeming feature of that whole expedition of his.
Yes, and as Chad is pointing it out, we did see a bottle on Zora's ledge there. So a lot of available bottles right there, and there's our lamp. A bit expensive, don't you think?
Yeah, but if I'm gonna pay that much for a lamp, I'd rather get it early in the game.
Yep. So Linlinlin still keeping up with the Kakariko skip play. Will miss out on a 300 pack if I remember correctly, so maybe won't be able to make the trip all the way to Zora. Meanwhile, with both fire sources in his pocket, Rywek will go through and finish Eastern Palace. Will probably have an easier time than Lin did.
And Rywek was curious about that green pendant location since we knew it wasn't in the light world, so he asked Saha. And it's Skullwoods, because Skullwoods is always a pendant, except when it's not.
Yeah, of course. And with only 2 items, you know, if there's a pendant in Skullwoods, of course it's gonna have something for the players. You don't want to dip independent Skullwoods, but when you don't, there's something, so let's see what they do when they get there.
And that early Fire Rod gives us access to the back of Skullwoods once we have Dark World access. And that Dark World access should be coming up relatively soon because we just need either the second glove or the hammer.
Yes, still, sadly for Lin, still need the Moon Pearl that's in the back of the bar, which with that Kakariko skip isn't playing in his favor too much.
And we also don't have too many locations we haven't seen yet. There's Agina, we have logical access to Old Man and inside Spec Rock for Death Mountain, and I can't think of anything else.
No, the number of checks we have available are going down steadily.
Oh, right, and Sick Kid, of course.
Yep, with that bottle, with one of the multiple bottles players have found, one of them will probably satisfy the Sick Kid. But luckily for both players, we don't have a logical access to Aghanim because first off, we don't have a sword, and we need 2 of those, or the cape, and that's not in either player's inventory right now. So, at least that probably will make them happy to know that there's the chance that Ag as required is going down pretty much at the same rate as the number of checks that are left for them.
Yeah, with 4 checks left that we have to get some sort of progression, it's much more likely to find either hammer or mitts than find 1 sword and either second sword or cape. But yeah, Lin's probably wishing he had that Fire Rod earlier.
Yep. Yeah, definitely would have saved a couple of deaths in Eastern. So that's unfortunate for Lin, but we'll see. He'll have the opportunity of checking the Sick Kid item, which Rywek didn't check because he didn't have a bottle at the time.
And Rywek, meanwhile, is doing some very nice navigation of that darkroom with the lamp, just kind of going around the popos and hit the Igor from the side.
And oh, Sick Kid has our Dark World access, the hammer.
So hopefully Rywek doesn't get led astray up Death Mountain or anything and takes a hint from all those bottles.
Sure hope he does, and if not, it still is a time loss of checking only the Old Man and Spec Rock, but it isn't too bad. Hopefully he doesn't find Hookshot or something, access to East Death Mountain, which could probably take him a while to check.
Well, we'll see where he goes now. I assume save and quit to Sank. Yep. And from here, either CAC or Death Mountain. Lin, I expect to just take the portal north of Kakariko.
Yep, at that point, that would be a pretty interesting play to make. I don't think Lin talked to Sahasrara, so no info about the green pendant being in Skull Woods, but having access to two dungeons right away is pretty big, so wouldn't surprise me too much to see Linlinlin go through that portal.
I'm kind of feeling like there's a sword in Skull Woods.
Meanwhile, so while Linlinlin does intend to go through the portal, Rywek is making the climb up that mountain. We'll check both the top and inside of Spec Rock. Decides to go straight on. No peeking, and who in
Pendants down
chat
the left.
predicted that? Yep, all three dungeons on the left of your map are pendants. Oh, and Rywek getting baited to a Gina. So
Okay, sword wasn't even in Skull Woods. It was before Skull Woods.
yeah, sword and chest game. Funny way, eh? Open two chests and win a sword. I mean,
And you only pay what, 30 rupees for that game? Much cheaper than a 500 rupee lamp.
yeah, definitely. And then also finding the book in a C-shaped house, meaning bearing the boots, we do have logical access to Desert Palace. Might not be able to complete it if it is boots locked.
And that may be our only access to desert because with Meyer being a flute, for all we know, the flute. Sorry, with Meyer being a pendant, for all we know, the flute is in Ganon's tower.
Yep, the flute could be pretty much anywhere in the seed, and potentially inaccessible to both players until very, very late. And there's a second sword.
So once we get a mirror, we can do. And which medallion was that? Ether?
Ether, yeah. So, Thieves Town being Thieves Town and Village of Outcast having a good bit of items for Lin right there. Two swords, Ether medallion. We take those.
And because it's a pendant and he found so many items in the front, he doesn't want to bother with the back, which is totally understandable.
Yep. When you don't have to, the first four checks are pretty quick to do in Thieves Town, but the back in itself is quite a lengthy process. So if you can avoid doing the back for what was it? Was there one or two items left?
I think that was 3 in the front, so only 1 in the
Yeah,
back.
so only one item, so you don't bother.
And Lin is not going to bother with Skull Woods, but Rywek is, and this is kind of unfortunate because even if there is something in there, unless we have a third sword now in Skull Woods, Rywek can't get to Mothula without one of those swords that Lin has.
Yeah. Became the first chest will make this bum jump worth it. Free map. That's sad. Oh, and
Oh,
Rywek taking a costly death right there.
oh, but he
Luckily, he
did
has
get
a
those.
fairy.
Right. From the waterfall cave, but yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, but taking a death in Skullwoods, but outside the dungeon, is quite costly because, especially now, you don't have such an easy way going back first to the Dark World. You have to walk all the way from Sanctuary to the. And never mind what I was saying. Lynn just found the boots.
We won't be doing too much walking anymore, period. And hey, there's our fourth bottle. Yeah, so Rywek's gonna feel pretty silly when he picks up 2 swords in the Village of Outcast Thieves Town area.
Yep, that. Maybe he'll find the last item right here, but no, just the key.
And with where Lynn was, and picking up the boots, that actually makes Pyramid Fairy logically accessible because we know we can clear desert now.
It does. And also looks like Rywek will find his boots in no time, but still no swords on his side of the game.
Now, you don't need a sword for Pod, so Rywek could join Lynn over there, but it sure makes life easier to have a Master Sword versus no sword.
Sure does. Even though the hammer has tempered sword damage, having the convenience of a sword always available on your B button is often underrated. Just having a weapon always available to you without having to go through the menu, it's always fun.
Especially with those boots, it's a lot easier to charge and not worry if there's an enemy in front of you if you're just gonna automatically stab the enemy.
Yep.
So with 2 keys in the first 2 checks, Lynn is following the standard route of checking the vanilla big key chest next. Because now
Yes,
it's 50-50 that this might actually not be a small key.
and it is not. So we found our last medallion. There's a small key, and there also will be one in the bridge, the arena bridge chest, or maybe not. I don't think Lynn did right side, so we might still find more items. For those who don't know, the small key logic in Pod is might be quite complicated, but there is at least 4 small keys in the front.
And he already got a small key out of the arena bridge chest.
Yeah, alright. There's one, and that should be the last one. There it is.
Yep, because the Quake and the Heart container were the 2 non-small key chests. And then there are 2 more small keys between Terrapin Room, Harmless Hellway, and Rupee Basement. What's funny is that in the vanilla game, there's a small key in Dark Maze. In Randomizer, we don't allow that because keys are placed before items, so when they place the keys, they don't know yet whether you have the bow or the hammer. And it would only be safe to put a small key in the Dark Maze if you know you won't have either one of the bow or the hammer at that point.
the small key logic tries to prevent all possible soft locks, and does a pretty good job at it. But yeah, as you said, if players have their access to the boss, having a small key in Dark Maze could potentially soft lock a player who doesn't know about the hammer yump or doesn't want to do the hammer yump glitch, which in itself isn't considered in logic for any application whatsoever.
Wow. That's flippers there. So Pod's been very interesting here. Quake, flippers, mushroom.
Yep. And we've seen Rywek with the stair extension glitch. Pretty cool way to go through those pegs. If you just drop a Samaria block and dash while on the edge of the pit at the bottom of the stairs in the arena in Pod, you just extend your stairs all the way through those orange pegs and go right through them.
Also worth noting, given the big key location and the fact that this isn't key sanity, you are not going to see a hammer yump.
Rywek setting up for the death warp. Hopefully the enemies in the room play nice, and they do.
Yeah, a bit more efficient than Lin. He only needs to use one bomb for it. So you can see how much having that lamp has allowed Rywek to gain time on Lin.
Yeah, it really did. Even though Lin's doing a great job at navigating those dark rooms, just having the lamp makes it that much easier.
Yeah, and even at the top level, it doesn't matter how good you are. Dark rooms are faster with a lamp than without.
Yep. Some players might decide to skip the lamp if it's out of the way. Cause I've already seen players skip lamp on just on race game, but it's a very nice item to have.
And I would think on
even
race game, you know, that's maybe 15 seconds to pick it up. That it over the whole course of the rest of the game, since that's really early, it would save you at least 15 seconds.
Usually does, but depends on your confidence level. Lin had to play it safe at the end and does dispatch the big bad guy in Pod, and there's Lin's second crystal right there.
And we'll see how Rywek does this without a sword. Probably bow and arrows, if I had to guess.
Yep, the trickier part is going to be the mask removal, because the hammer in itself doesn't have that big of a reach. There are ways to extend it, like just having your sword out extends the reach for a bit. And also, there's the arming the spin speed glitch does also extend your hammer reach, but pretty clean fight on Rywek's end also. Took a couple of hits there in the end, but managed to go through. Meanwhile, Lin having the so book was required for desert from what I've seen.
Yeah, with that mirror location, definitely.
Yeah, so that's an interesting find for Lin. And seeing as Rywek is spawning at the house, might be going the same way also. Or not. Looks like Rywek is going to be checking his mushroom. I mean, turning in the mushroom right after a save and quit is a pretty good way to go about it, because that way, if it's nothing interesting locked behind that, you just reset your game, and you get to keep your mushroom, and you'll be able to maybe use the fate powder glitch with that mushroom in Cane of Samaria later on.
I thought Sigma said that the French broadcast was on SpeedGaming Francais too, but the bot is saying that it's just on SpeedGaming Francais.
But Twitch does confirm that it is on SpeedGaming Francais too.
Yes, the bot's lying.
And what Rywek is checking Lumberjack, maybe hoping to find something, but 20 rupees probably not what he was hoping for.
We're only a few items from Go mode, but I do wonder with this relatively early Pyramid Fairy access, if one of our remaining items for Go mode is in the Pyramid Fairy.
Might be, and Rywek making plays right there, trying to see if Spike Cake is going to have anything for him.
It's in logic with that Cane of Burna, but he does have to be careful not to burn all his magic.
Yep, had a bit of a difficult movement, but we'll get through without any issues. And at that point in the game, that green 20 is an item that has been removed from the heart pool. So at that point, to my knowledge, that potentially could be either Silver's or the Mirror Shield, or maybe a male.
Yeah, one of those three things. Rywek really doesn't want to check Village of Outcasts, though.
No, and at that point, he might think, since he's put it off for so long, maybe he's thinking, well, if something's there, it's GG anyway. So he's taking gambles to maybe try and catch up a bit. But at that point, being already in the village like that, Rywek is probably Village of Outcast bound.
And then he's gonna start finding swords and wish he'd been there sooner. And Lin, it looks like, is doing that Pyramid Fairy check. And he'll also be able to check Pyramid Ledge, which we haven't yet seen.
Yep. So that's those are going to be 3 checks on Lin's screen coming up soon.
Yeah, if he gets spin speed, it's typical for players to check the ledge while they're waiting for the big bomb to explode. And the ledge is just a vanilla piece of heart for all that.
Yep. Meanwhile, Rywek went back into Skullwoods before doing Village of Outcasts.
And the Pyramid Fairy is just handing out bees today.
Yep. I preferred the Waterfall one. Much nicer.
You know, if something's on Green Pendant, this is really not going to be pleasant for Rywek because he's going to have to triple dip Skullwoods, and Lin will be able to just do the whole thing at once. Lin showing a nice advanced strat there where if you can mirror bonk, you can refresh the witch's hut to check the mushroom item really quickly.
Yep. Makes it a couple seconds faster than just going out and coming back into the screen. Meanwhile, Rywek will soon find his first and hopefully second swords.
So I guess there were only 2 items in the front of Thieves if that compass was there. They were just big items. And Lin going to find out that this fairy gives out better rewards in the bottle.
Yep. And either, as chat said, Rywek could indeed use a sword, and there it is. Yep. Rywek setting up for the death warp.
Lin
Well,
probably
Lin
doesn't want a
sees-
4th bottle.
Yeah, Lin sees the 4th bottle and will probably leave it there. I mean, it's more safety, but at that point, with already 3 bottles, they must feel pretty confident in terms of their survival abilities. Not sure how either player feel about their routing right now. Rywek probably does feel pretty behind right now.
Yeah, and I mean, really the only snag Lin's hit is those couple of deaths in Eastern Palace, and he's recovered from that quite well.
Yeah, but that mirror really working wonders for Lin, being able to check pretty much all of the North Light and Dark World checks pretty efficiently.
And in fact, he'll be able to do all of Light Death Mountain when he gets up there.
Yep, by going the long way around, but still, that's still pretty interesting for Lin.
Well, hair is a crystal, might as well knock it off when you pass it.
Yeah, definitely.
So where's Rywek going now?
At that point, might be going desert.
Yeah, must be.
You know, with that book in hand, I'm I'm pretty confident Desert is the play for Rywek.
And we're starting to run out of places to check too, because we still don't have the mitts, and they, for example, lock Ice Palace and Turtle Rock.
Yep, and a pretty good quick climb there with a bomb for Lin. Lin will check Ether Tablet before going in. And a piece of heart.
Well, we knew it wasn't going to be Ether.
Yep, could have been something more interesting though, but I mean, we'll take it. It's not like we have a choice anyway at that point.
Yeah, only time you get a choice there is if you check it without the Master Sword. You can choose whether or not to come back for it once you have the Master Sword.
Yep, and without the big key and no hook shot, there's not much choice on Lin's part than to just wait it out in the basement.
Yeah, I suppose this could get interesting if Rywek is feeling behind, goes for broke, dives swamp, and finds a French vanilla hook shot.
Yep, that would be one of the situations where the race might close up a bit, because right now Rywek has taken quite a couple of unfortunate gambles that didn't quite pay off, and is behind a couple one and soon to I mean, at that point both players will probably get their respectively third and fourth crystal pretty much at the same time, so in terms of crystal we won't have the gap won't get bigger, but Len sure is ahead right now.
Yeah, and there really aren't that many places left without the mitts that we haven't seen. I mean, I guess no one's been to Graveyard Ledge or King's Tomb. Those are kind of out of the way. And there's Death Mountain, which is by far the densest set of checks. There's, as we said, Swamp without the hook shot. And then there's like Back of Thieves or Green Pendant Moth.
Yep, those are the and you mentioned hookless swamp, and that's no one wants to do that, but sometimes it just is required. Hookless or hammerless swamp is it feels bad, but as we've seen in the qualifiers, it can happen and will happen if you don't worry about it.
Yes, that hammer in Swamp tripped up a lot of runners in that qual.
Meanwhile, Moldorm did get round one on to his name, knocking down Lin, but there's the revenge and the fourth crystal. While Rywek on his hand had a pretty good Lanmo fight.
And I was about to say, is this the Swamp play? And then I realized, no, probably it's the Pyramid Fairy play.
No, it's the Bombos Tablet and Swamp. Bombos Tablet, but is it a Bombos and Swamp play or a Bombos and Pyramid Fairy play?
So nothing on Bombos. And after Spiral Cave, there's only Paradox Cave for Lin. Oh, Tempered Sword's nice.
Yep, makes the rest of the seed and the Ganon fight quite a bit easier on both runners.
Ah, we're getting a Cave 45 check now.
Yeah, but
Did
it's
Lin
pretty
get-
close by, and it's not that much of a time loss, even if there's nothing there.
And there's nothing there.
Meanwhile, Lin not having too much luck on Ease That Mountain either, but there still are those 5 checks you see on your screen. Lots of red right now.
And Death Mountain was really a bust, though we did get a 4th crystal out of it.
4th crystal and Tempered Sword, so...
Oh, that's true.
But yeah, not the best.
So we're down to a lot of undesirable checks now.
Yep. And Rywek going for the bomb duplication glitch. And gets it. There you go.
Though after that many screen transitions, you have to wonder how much time it actually saves.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it still saves some, because walking with that bomb is slow, especially when you have the boots that can just let you fly through the screen. Meanwhile, Rywek will find out that Pyramid Fairy is a bit grumpy today and only giving out bees.
So Lin's going straight to the back of Skull Woods, which makes sense. He's got a sword. We know Moth has a green pendant, which can be turned in for an item.
And if I remember correctly, Moth also has an item.
So he won't even need to touch the front.
Yep, just got the red shield in the middle right there, and we'll get his second item on the boss. That will save a bit more time doing it this way.
So now Rywek's doing the Death Mountain play. As we said, this is the most item-dense location that was remaining to the runners. We just know it's not going to give him anything other than a crystal and a tempered sword.
Yep. But still, a crystal's a crystal. When you have access to a crystal dungeon, most player will just go for it. We did see Rywek take a couple of gambles because he's probably aware he's behind right now and trying to make up some time by finding an item in an undesirable location, but not much is going to be found in the mountain today.
One nice thing is, as long as we don't have Flute, Pet is off the table. Though with Lin being here, he'll probably check it anyway.
Yep, having the book, you have the luxury of reading what's on the pad. And probably not have to worry about it for the rest of the seed. Though it would be quite funny to find something like Hookshot or Ice Rod on the pad. That would basically force us to do all 10 dungeons.
but it's just couch cash.
Yeah, the dream is dead.
So I'm thinking Lynn will probably do Graveyard Ledge and King's Tomb.
Yep, and going out of Skullwoods, those are pretty convenient. I mean, at least as convenient as they'll ever be checks to make.
I don't think we even saw what was sitting on Bumper Ledge.
I don't think we did. So those will be a couple more checks under our belt. A green 20 rupees on Bumper Ledge.
Hey, at this point, that could be our fourth sword.
Could be our fourth sword, could still be a mail shield, and at 11 hearts could even be maybe a heart container if we've picked them all up already.
Yeah, especially because one of the heart containers is Sankheart. So if you haven't found Sankheart, but have found 6 regular heart containers,
Oh,
but
and
there's
there
the
are the
glove.
mitts.
Sorry, mitts.
The mitts for Lynn. Won't have to go through the mirror portal. Just drop down and check King's Tomb. Much more convenient.
Vanilla!
And the vanilla cave we now know we won't need. So that's fun. But that cape will be useful, could be useful for the Ganon fight, being able to make it a one cycle for the 2 first phases.
And we are briefly tied up on crystals, but Lynn's just about to go into Ice Palace while Rywek doesn't have any crystals he can get with his current inventory.
Yep. Rywek will be finding a sword pretty soon, but we'll still be looking for mitts for a while. And having the Cane of Samaria will make Ice Palace that much easier for Lynn. We'll be able to use the Icebreaker glitch to basically skip a good chunk of the dungeon. The way
Yeah.
Icebreaker works is you can, with a well-placed Samaria block, you can trick the game into thinking you're still in a doorway. And the way doorways work in the game is, while you're in one, you have no collision. That's how you can walk from one room to another one. And by placing a Samaria block just in the right place, you can trick the game into thinking you're still in the doorway and go straight through the wall in the middle of the room.
And that vanilla big key is nice because Lynn didn't hit the switch, so he's anticipating a full clear, but if you do that and then happen to find all 3 items early, you then wind up going on a key hunt.
Yeah, because having those blue pegs still raised will prevent you from possibly getting to the boss room. But with that small key and the big key, that's an easier time for Lynn. While it looks like Rywek is making a Swamp Palace play.
And Lynn has to get the big chest the vanilla way because no hook shot.
Yep, and as we still have one item missing, I believe Lynn will just go through and do the iced tea room.
Yeah, you don't want to have to come back for it and find out you orphaned something important. And I don't blame Rywek for this play because he's got to feel behind, and he can be pretty sure Lin's not doing it. So, on the off chance that, hook shot's in here, he can be back in the game.
Yep, hookshot or even maybe ice rod for that matter. Rywek still has the mitts missing to access TR, but finding the ice rod could, in that position without the hookshot, could possibly guide him to TR when he finds his mitts.
Now, Lin's in an interesting position because where do you go if Cold Stare doesn't have the hookshot or the ice rod?
At that point, you might still be going to TR because it's with that and Dark Death Mountain, it's a pretty dense item locations in the item location. So TR might still be the play right there. And the Bloomerang.
Yeah, so basically your major options at this point are TR without the ice rod and Swamp without the hookshot.
Yep, two locations the player just really want to go. We all love going hookless swamp and going on an ice rod hunt in TR.
Though we do at least get the 6 Dark Death Mountain checks before we enter TR. And chat pointing out there are other options too, like Smith Chain or Turn in the Green Pendant, but I think these runners are still at the point of hoping they can find progression in a dungeon.
Yeah, definitely. Dungeons are always more dense in checks than overworld, so they pretty much hope they find something on their way rather than having to make numerous detours to get all of the overworld checks.
Though, chat also reminding us that both runners only did the front of Thieves Town. They got 2 good items out of it, but that still leaves the back with 2 more items.
Yeah, the back is still open.
Lynn's sure getting used to carrying those bombs up the stairs.
Yep, Rywek just for now finding the big key in left side swamp. Still 2 checks remaining. The right chest and the big chest now. And the ice rod! Ice rod is in left side swamp.
Okay, so depending where the hookshot is, this could be very good for Rywek. Of course, if the hookshot is in TR, that kind of goes back in Lynn's favor. But
Yeah, but also depends on do you do a left side swamp if you're Lynn, or do you just go through and hope there's nothing there? So
well, he
we
might be
still
down to.
might have a race.
By the time Lynn goes into Swamp, he might be down to relatively few options. Oh, there's the hookshot.
So we now have all of the information we need to complete the seed, but both players having a different go mode item. Rywek having mitts and hookshot as his go mode, and Lin just the ice rod.
But yes, that hookshot is probably good for Rywek because Lin will go straight to Swamp knowing he can clear it once he gets locked out of Turtle Rock. Oh, he's not even bothering with Turtle Rock. He's going straight to Swamp. So yeah, we'll get to see whether he does left side. Rywek now on his third time through Skull Woods.
Yeah, for Rywek, at that point, it's the infamous "you must be truly desperate to come to me for help." That's much Matula in Rywek's case. Really hoping there's something there on the boss or the green pendant turn in, probably. Because doing a third dungeon dip it's never fun. You have to feel really behind to just go back and do it for two items.
And I mean, given everything we've seen, what's the best thing he could even find on Green Pendant at this point? Half magic?
Yeah, could be half magic, could still be the flute. At that point, I don't know how useful that would be, but could still be.
Oh, chat's saying the bug net is clearly the winning item that could be on Saha.
I completely agree. Rywek just going out of Skullwoods will probably check Graveyard Ledge and King's Tomb, finding his mitts in the process. For now, to know if we have a race or not, it all comes down to, does Lin go to left side swamp?
Absolutely, because if he does, that's his go mode and GG's. If he doesn't, who knows?
Lin picking up the key. Making us wait for our answer. Meanwhile, Rywek did find his mitts, only missing his hook shot right now.
And he's right there.
Looks like we may still have a race.
Ooh. And I think Ice Rod was the only item on left side because we also got the big key, but then I think it was a dungeon item in the big chest. So Lin may well say, I don't want to go back in for one item.
Yep. Oh no.
And that flute could
That's
really
good for
lead him
Rywek
astray.
though. Yeah, the flute is good for Rywek though.
So Rywek will actually be in go mode first.
Yep. We'll still have one more crystal soon. 2 crystal dungeons complete over Lin. Lin will only have TR left, while Rywek will do TR, but will still have Swamp and Ice to do. But I mean, he already did the worst part in Swamp, and Ice Palace Go mode is pretty interesting. And Lin just barely missing the quick kill on Argus. Finishes him on the second pass and nets his 6th crystal.
But yeah, now it's the big question. You're an ice rod hunt. There's one item on left side swamp. You've just opened mire area.
Do you? And looks like you don't.
I think he's going to be activating that flute soon enough.
Yep. Probably making the K45 check at the same time. And if Rywek goes straight to Super Bunny Cave after TR, which being in the Dark Death Mountain, you probably do.
And Rywek remembers the correct order to do this room in without the hook shot.
Yeah, that. But seriously, that as Chad is saying, we can't blame Lin for the call. That ice rod placement was filthy. Rywek had the. Let's call it the. I don't want to call left side swamp a luxury, but when once he went into swamp, he had nowhere to go but left side, so he did do it. But yeah, going back for one item, it's a hard call.
Speaking of one item, the Arrow of Destiny was in hammer pegs all along.
Yay! Now we can properly ignore it.
The Smiths offer a double your money proposition, even though they probably thought they were making a mail upgrade.
Yep, and as Chad is talking about Rywek's TR play, he might expect hookshot in there, but it's still a crystal dungeon. You still have to do it, so you have more available items, and you still have to go through. And TR, to be fair, isn't a dungeon that's necessarily that much faster to go mode, so doing it this way is a good play,
especially
for
with
Rywek.
that vanilla big key. I mean, you're basically full clearing the dungeon anyway.
Yep.
So he'll do Mimic Cave, which you wouldn't do if you were in go mode, but other than that, it's basically the same as a go mode clear.
Yep. The only thing you might have the opportunity of skipping would maybe be Laser Bridge, if there are 2 small keys on the way. But yeah, Rywek will probably go through and full clear the dungeon and take maybe a 20-30 seconds time loss. But he is in a much more comfortable position than he was, let's say, a couple of minutes ago. Not that he knows. Lin just going through with the mire area, the flute checks.
And while these runners are going through these areas, good reminder time to give them both a follow. looks likely that this will be going to a game 3.
I mean, I'm pretty sure the only person that wouldn't want a game 3 right now is Lin. Going straight on to two brackets would probably be best case scenario for him, but I mean, a game 3 means Rywek still has a chance to take first place in the group, and we as commentator and viewers have more rando coming our way, so everyone wins almost.
And also worth noting, whoever loses this series will be facing Macanex next week in an elimination match, best 2 of 3.
And Rambler, having both players be francophones right now, SpeedGaming Français will, and the French community will cheer for both and will be happy with whoever wins. But yeah, Lin having made pretty much all the right plays, but that ice rod placement just oof.
Yeah, Lin definitely did by far the better job on routing, even if he had some bad execution in dungeons with the Moldorm Fall and the 2 Eastern Deaths.
Yeah, definitely had a rough start, but if you can compare that to Rywek's three Skullwoods death, it's harsh going through the same dungeon 3 times.
So Rywek's go mode incoming in about 10 seconds.
And there you go. 1 hour, 21 minutes, and 2 seconds. We have Rywek's go mode. Which means go mode Swamp and go mode Ice. Both 2 dungeons that Lin already did. Didn't exactly full clear in the case of Swamp, because as we know, our good friend Left Side Swamp had our Ice Rod.
And I'm thinking, even if Rywek starts opening some chests that are on the way, he's probably not even going to bother activating the flute at this point.
And at that point, I don't think he opens any chests. He's maxed out on health. Sword won't ever find his silvers anywhere. So at this point, being Rywek, I don't open any chests and just rush through the whole thing.
I mean, half magic is basically the only thing you could find at this point, because we know where all the bottles are too.
Yep, and even a half magic probably doesn't bother him too much.
Yeah, with Tempered Sword, he's in a pretty good position.
And then going through TR, losing a bunch of time, and won't even if he wanted to just save the portal, that won't be possible because of the ice rod's placement. Which is going to which means Lin will have to go through the whole dungeon again. I mean, it's the correct play, but
yeah, but it's also
just rough.
it's also going to keep him from going back into swamp because he's going to want to do anything possible to protect that portal.
Yeah, probably. And with only one item left in swamp, that just throws it down the priority list already. And if Lin tries to save the portal, I don't think we'll see swamp anytime soon.
So here's Rywek about to even up the crystal count. Two tempered sword spins is all it takes.
Yep. That those puffs in the end were dangerous, but Rywek is through and picks up the 6th crystal, and Rywek will now just rush Ice Palace to find his 7th.
Yeah, swamp to ice is a pretty convenient routing.
Yep. As we thought, Lin will try to save the TR portal. And that flute just threw Lin off the Ice Rod hunt, the Ice Rod ascent completely.
I mean, that's left side swamp for you. We saw, left side swamp making all the difference in the final at SpeedGaming Live last fall, too.
Yeah, as we've said a couple of times already, left side swamp for a single item is a tough call to make, and luckily
And,
it pays off for Rywek, and less fortunate for Lin though.
and when you're looking for Ice Rod, which is equally likely to be anywhere that isn't on Trinex or in GT, going for one item is just, not very attractive.
Yep, Ice Rod in left side swamp is harsh, and especially with the flute being in the back, that this combination of items just threw Lin off completely.
And Rywek did hit the switch, so he's just going to drop straight down here.
And so matches like this are why we all like Rando. Everything can happen. Things like we've seen today, where the one player's routing is miles ahead, but still that one chest is all it
And
takes.
with Rywek's 7th crystal, the bot is dead for guessing Ganon's Tower big key location, so in lieu of that, you can bet with your channel points.
Or you can just stick numbers in chat anyway because they look nice.
And what's your guess, Drosy?
I mean, my habitual guess is 10. And for the channel point prediction, I'd definitely go for the 1 to 11 after this. I really don't want to see it in the back half. What about you?
You know, my usual guess is 14, and I'm going to stick with it. Having it in 14 is usually the end of Rendo Room, so having it in Rendo Room is always fun. But yeah, you know, everyone wants to have it in Tal Room. Make the seed a bit longer and have our runners entertain us for that much longer.
What match was it yesterday where someone went for broke on Tile Room and wound up almost closing our huge deficit by being right there?
I don't know. I haven't been able to watch too many games recently, but yeah, going for broke in Tile Room, while not the best play in the world, sometimes just pays off. And everyone, well, there you go.
I want to say maybe it was Zelga Desan versus Top Life. I could be totally wrong, but I think that's what it was.
So I can say bye-bye to all my channel points. Because
yeah, that was fast.
it was on the torch.
Good thing we had the boots.
It looks like the two items in Thieves Town are going to be quite deep. And nothing in the attic. Simply an old piece of paper nobody reads anymore.
Well, we haven't gotten the small key in Thieves Town, so it could be locked in the big chest.
And the second Landmo fight giving a bit of a hard time to Rywek, but well, there. Okay, I was thinking, I was wondering why Rywek was skipping the small magic butt, but with that green potion, no need to get it. Meanwhile, a pretty close to textbook blind on Lin's screen. Just barely missed that last hit on the final phase. Lin takes the portal. Oh, there it is. I think Lin just realized
Yeah.
what happened.
Well, at least he'll find his go mode before Rywek beats Ganon.
Yep. That will be one unhappy rando player right there. Nice
Think
triple
that-
for Rywek there. Not exactly a fun pattern to work with.
Yeah, I think some of those didn't count because they. Oh no, they did. That was actually a 3-2-1. I was thinking some of them hit too close in proximity.
Yeah, it was pretty close, but I did see the knockback on Aghanim on phase 1. But it's a pretty nice fight. Not a fun pattern to work with on the first teleport.
Anytime you can 3-cycle Aghanim, it's a nice fight.
Ganon just giving us some health for our attrition. What a nice guy. Just taking our health into account while we just try and cut him down with our sword.
Rywek didn't quite get the 1 cycle on phase 2. Must have been really close.
Yeah, I think it was maybe one, maybe a spin that didn't hit twice and was maybe 1 or 2 slashes away.
Yeah, because you only need 6 spins to get through a phase with Tempered, and you got a couple of double hits there. And there's Lin's go mode. Oh, and Rywek turns Ganon blue.
Seems like Ganon did give him a good pattern. Could have went for the triple, but I decided to set up for the next round. Rywek taking a fire bat. I mean, at that point, Rywek would need more than a single Ganon death or fall to lose this race, but
Yeah.
this isn't over as long as he hasn't crossed that 1 tile gap.
But get your GGs in chat for Rywek here, who pulled this out.
And Rywek finishes with an official racetime.gg time of 1 hour, 37 minutes, and 35 seconds, with Lin forfeiting the race right after. So GG's to both runners.
And we've got Rywek in the waiting room already. Let's see if we can get him up here. We got both runners in the waiting room. And we are joined by Rywek and Linlinlin. GG.
GG, Linlinlin. GG's.
So, guys,
So you
how
know how
about that
yesterday I
ice
said.
rod?
yesterday I said I would get him next time. Well, I got you this time. It was a prediction. 1-1, baby.
Indeed, we will have a game 3 between you two.
Yep.
But
I'll be honest,
what about that ice rod placement?
I was not playing well at all. Heck, even when I went into GT, I figured I'm just going to go steal the key on the left side and go directly to tile room. That's how badly I felt the entire run. But that left side swamp, my god, it bailed me out. So thanks, Linlinlin, for skipping that.
I mean, it's kind of hard, like, justifying going there when there's a big key on the map.
Yep. One item left on left side. It's totally justifiable.
And I found the flute, which opens even more. Like, I don't think in my position that's justifiable just to go for one item when it could be in the big chest and the big key on the left side. Like, yeah, it's just impossible. You
we could
make that choice.
Could have been a huge waste of time. Totally get it.
Yeah, and with that flute in the back of swamp, that really turned the tide. Lynn, you went for all flutes check, which we all said was in your position was the play to make.
The thing is, before committing and going back to TR, since I found the hookshot on Death Mountain, that actually opens up a lot of checks I can do quickly. Like, I have 4 checks in Outcast with Hammer Peg, Smith, Purple Chest, and Powder, and 3 in the my area, which I can do faster than TR. So I just took that.
Makes sense.
So,
go ahead, Drosy.
Rywek, I was curious about your reluctance for a couple of checks. Like, even after the first race, you still put off Sick Kid as basically a last location, and then you were reluctant to do Village of Outcast once you got into the Dark World.
Yep. For Sick Kid, it made sense to me because I knew there were bottles outside of Kakariko, and Linlinlin would have checked Sick Kid anyway, so I had to do every other check before Sick Kid. And even if Sick Kid had my progression, I'd already cleared everything out anyway, so I doubt that Linlinlin did early Agina, for example.
Nope.
Yeah, exactly. So I had to think in mind of how Linlinlin plays and adjust accordingly.
And that was also the motivation for putting off Village of Outcasts?
Oh, Village of Outcasts I was just really stuck in my brain again. I was not focused. I was in the back of Skull Woods without a sword, and I'm like, this was very dumb. Let's just save and quit and go to Hype Cave. And then, well, found new items, new locations to opened up, so it took me a while to get back to Village of Outcasts.
Because the early Zora play actually worked a bit in your favor, though. You had Lamp. Lynn was taking a couple deaths in Eastern.
I mean, I already knew that those deaths were kind of balanced out with the fact that Sick Kid had the hammer and no bottles inside in CAC.
Exactly. Like, I would never have gone to Eastern without at least 4 hearts. 3 hearts, I was out of escape. I'm like, I'm not going to Eastern. I need 4 hearts, especially for that big key chest room. Like, no, I need 4. So I wasn't doing early Eastern, but I knew Linlinlin would hop right over.
As soon
he
as
did.
You saw that it was a bow open.
Yeah. So I had to play against that. And later on, well, I had to bet on Linlinlin either not doing left side swamp or double dipping TR. And it was just like double dipping TR with the mirror, and hopefully he found the flute somewhere, but he didn't at the time. And he would just fly away, and he wants to keep his portal. Like, that was the only thing that could save me. And I guess it did.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Lynn trying to save a portal on Laser Bridge just fluted away and put off Swamp for a good while.
Any last questions before we head over to the FR side?
Oh yeah, you guys have to do the double interview now.
Yep.
Yep. So let me say it in French. J'ai vous deux.
Thank you.
Was a
Thanks.
fun race to watch, and Say hi to the French guys for me.
Will do.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks again to our runners for joining us. And we've got a whole schedule of games ahead of us today. Right now, Group F winners bracket match Game 3 is finishing up on SpeedGaming main channel between Zelgadasan and Top Life, and then at 12:10, so in about 40 minutes, we will be having Ninjembro versus Schultzer, which I believe is the loser bracket final for that group. That the initial winner bracket and loser bracket matches have all played out, and these guys are playing for the last slot from their group. So that should be a good series to check up on.
Yep, and then at 110, we have on Speed Gaming 5 Hase with versus Kappa, Game 2. So another interesting match. Then Vortex of Doom versus Killer App at 210 on Speed Gaming 6. And looks like we have a double header for Hase versus Kappa. So
If necessary.
yeah, if necessary, Game 3 will be held right after the 110 match. So, yeah, still a good chunk of interesting matchups coming up today and tomorrow. And for that, the rest of the week, while we finish up the group phase of the main tournament.
And you know it's a busy day when we're using Speed Gaming 4, 5, and 6. But yeah, as you said, we're beginning the last week of the group phase. Everyone has to have their groups done by this coming Saturday the 8th, and brackets will start promptly on the 9th.
Yeah, really eager to see what kind of brackets we're gonna have this year. Still a good chunk of really good players still fighting out in groups, so we'll have a pretty interesting tournament, I think.
Definitely, a lot of big names fighting for their lives are even already eliminated. So it's going to be quite something. And once again, thanks to our runners, Rywek and Linlinlin. Please do give them a follow. Thanks also to our amazing tracker, Dark Diplomat, who's always tracking all over the place. And StarX, it was nice working with you.
Yes, likewise, Drossi. So don't forget to leave a follow on Drossi and Dark Diplomat's channel on our runners, and was great fun commentating that race with you.
Definitely. And enjoy your Sunday full of more ALTTPR matches.
Yep. I'll see you guys in chat on the other matches. A lot of good games coming up.